situation. So number 2, embrace and accept the adoptee's experience. Babies do remember. Early separation does impact the brain and behavior. The experience of early loss leaves a footprint on the brain and the body, which shows up in the present as behavior called a trigger. When you leave the room or even separate from your child, absence feels like an abandonment, and they flip their lids, have a tantrum, and they need to see you, be with you. In attachment parenting, line of sight supervision, they will need you to tell them where you're going and or have line of sight supervision. I see you and I know where you are. Mind sight, I see you and you're still here with me, so that we're not triggering their abandonment. A fault or fracture occurs to the somatic sense of self. This is integrative body psychotherapy. It's a healthy response to an unhealthy threat in the body that's reminding them of loss, rejection, trust, not feeling secure in any relationship, and they need that time in. So this is early pre-verbal life experiences that can bring up perceived abandonment. To you, it may say, why is she having a physiological reaction? I don't want you to take it personally. I want you to take it therapeutically. She's having a physiological reaction. And if you can step back and go, let me see this behavior as a vulnerability. If we can just reframe it, I'm seeing this behavior as a vulnerability of an unmet need. I'm going to do my best to figure this out. And I may not know right now, and that's okay. I'm going to keep breathing and keep myself regulated. So this early pre-verbal life experience can trigger just a mere look. My adoptive mother would just look at me in a certain way, and I perceive that as total rejection. She didn't love me. She didn't want me. In an instant, and my whole body went into a high stress state. My mother didn't understand. I cried a lot as a kid. She didn't know how to be with my grief. Accepting is a big part of parenting a child with these early life triggers. It can also trigger lack of trust in relationships. The definition of trust is I know someone's looking out for my well-being. Someone's looking out for my well-being. They see me, they hear me, they have compassion for me, to sit with me, figure it out, join with me, have empathy for me and them at the same time, how hard this is. That's what builds trust. Whether real or imagined, it manifests in behaviors as that fight flight, which can also be called traumatic grief reactions. So triggers can't be just turned off. It's like a light switch, on and off. Sensations, commercials, thoughts and feelings in the body can just come up at any time. There's no rhyme or rhythm when they will show up. I like this phrase a lot. What's hysterical, we must assume is historic, because what gets repressed must be expressed. We're all always binding anxieties. Stress is a part of life. Bruce Perry talks about this. We have positive stress, tolerable stress, and then if we can't manage the tolerable stress, it becomes toxic stress. So we're always managing and binding anxieties. It's what we do with our anxieties, how we release the stress from our bodies. So an exercise just to think about the way triggers appear in the body and the mind. Imagine there's a tiger in your home right now, and you can't find it, but you know it's there lurking and can jump and scare you at any time. That's what it feels like to not know when your next trigger is. So be trauma informed. The paradigm shift is just looking at your child. It's not that they won't behave, they can't behave. Adoptees do have special needs. If you've heard me speak before, I don't like the word issues because that implies there's something wrong about you. I don't want to think there's something wrong about me. I want to reframe that and go, I have vulnerabilities because of what's happened to me. They can't be parented the same as other children. They need that different approach because they've experienced a loss and or trauma and or attachment trauma. So we want to be attachment-based, brain-based, and trauma-informed parenting. Be trauma-informed means looking at your child What's wrong with you? To let me correct myself. Let me reframe this. Take a moment, breathe, ground. What happened to you? Wow, what happened to you? I'm going to be really curious about that. And I'm going to go back and write up their whole story. I tell parents a lot, just write up the whole story, all the details, so that you can understand and take in their story and go, okay, I see this, I get this. So please do not take their behaviors personally.